discussing concepts such as energy healing, chakras, auras, the etheric body, and similar terms that have spread widely in recent decades is akin to traversing a minefield, an endeavor that demands exceptional mental and spiritual vigilance and an acute level of focus and awareness. On one hand, we cannot wholly deny the existence of such phenomena, for doing so would be the first step in a chain leading to the rejection of all that lies beyond the material realm. Such an absolute denial could ultimately culminate in the dismissal of the unseen world, of jinn, angels, and devils, eventually leading, God forbid, to the denial of the very existence of God. On the other hand, it is equally untenable to fully accept and embrace these notions without scrutiny, for many of them are rooted in dubious philosophies such as theosophy, Gnosticism, as well as Buddhist and Hindu teachings, and are often derived from pagan and atheistic schools of thought. These ideologies seek to drown the human soul in confusion and spiritual disarray, stripping it of certainty and tethering it instead to false cosmic forces that usurp the role of the divine in creation and governance. Thus, this entire discourse stands as a striking example of truth being interwoven with falsehood, of misguidance cloaked in the guise of enlightenment, leading many to become lost between extreme materialist denial and unregulated spiritual surrender, wandering in a maze that seems to have no exit. Nonetheless, one cannot evade this labyrinth. We must tread it carefully and deliberately, as one would walk through a field of mines, in order to discern superstition from science and unveil the deception that masquerades as guidance. And once again, do not lose your focus. According to Hindu teachings, the human being is not composed of a single body, but of 5 distinct layers or sheaths, often referred to as the 5 kosas in Sanskrit. These represent different dimensions of existence and consciousness, each corresponding to a particular realm and aspect of human being. The first is the physical body, Annamaya kosha, which is the tangible, visible form comprised of flesh, bone, blood, and organs, all that is material and perceptible. This body belongs to the physical world and draws its energy from food, hence the name Annamaya, meaning composed of food. It perishes and decomposes after death, serving merely as the outermost shell of a human being, much like garments that are worn and then discarded. It is regarded as the least significant of the sheaths, for it is transient and ever-changing. The second is the etheric body, or pranamaya kosha, which contains the life force known as prana. This subtle energy is believed to be the unseen force that animates and sustains the physical body. The etheric body acts as a bridge between the material realm and higher planes of existence, and is thought to be responsible for the flow of energy through what are called chakras, 7 primary centers of subtle energy that are central to energy healing practices. Any imbalance within these centers affects the etheric body and, by extension, the physical body, resulting in illness. The third is the emotional body, or manomaya kosha, which encompasses emotions, desires, and affective experiences. It governs our responses to external stimuli and generates feelings such as fear, anger, love, and sorrow. According to these teachings, emotions are not merely chemical reactions, but dynamic flows within the emotional body that exert direct influence on both the etheric and physical bodies. Thus, through mindful meditation and emotional discipline, one can cultivate and regulate these inner states. The fourth is the mental body, or Vijnanamaya kosha, the seat of thought, belief, and comprehension, the realm of intellect and discernment. It shapes how we interpret and interact with the world, and is closely linked to levels of awareness and intelligence. Through this sheath, human beings are programmed by the concepts and ideas they absorb. This is why certain spiritual schools place great emphasis on reprogramming the mind through techniques such as meditation and positive affirmations, as negative thoughts are believed to leave imprints on this mental body, imprints that may manifest as illness or disturbances across the other layers of being. The fifth and final layer is the spiritual body, or Anandamaya Kosha, the most refined of the five sheaths, representing the true essence of the human being. It is said to be immortal, transcending death by undergoing successive cycles of reincarnation determined by one's actions, or what is known as karma, until the soul attains liberation, a state referred to as moksha. This body is believed to be in direct communion with what is called the universal consciousness, or the inner divine. Thus, the ultimate aim of deep spiritual practices and meditation is to access the sheath and experience spiritual wholeness through it. These five bodies are not separate entities but rather interwoven layers, beginning with the physical and culminating in the spiritual. It is held that imbalances in the higher bodies, the mental, emotional, or etheric, inevitably manifest in the lower, particularly in the physical body. For this reason, most spiritual healing and energy therapy methods focus on working from the inside out, healing the subtle, inner layers before physical symptoms arise. Contrary to the belief that these ideas stem from a single source, they are in fact the culmination of philosophical doctrines and beliefs that evolved over centuries within the vast landscape of Hindu teachings. Chief among these are the Upanishads, some of the oldest and most profound religious philosophical texts in India, which delve into esoteric teachings concerning the self and cosmic consciousness. The Taittiriya Upanishad in particular outlines this fivefold human constitution, naming the layers as Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya, the original Sanskrit terms for the five sheaths. Building upon these ancient texts, the school of Vedanta, a philosophical tradition rooted in Upanishadic interpretation, asserts that the human being is but a manifestation of the universal soul, and that liberation is attained through detachment from the physical body and realization of the higher self. Vedanta also espouses the doctrine of non-duality Advaita, which proclaims the unity of existence and the essential oneness of the human and the divine. In the same spiritual tradition, the Bhagavad Gita, a revered epic considered one of Hinduism's most sacred scriptures, reinforces the belief that the body is but a temporary vessel for the eternal soul, which passes through many lifetimes on its journey toward enlightenment. Similarly, the Yoga Sutras, a classical collection of philosophical teachings foundational to the practice of yoga, present a detailed roadmap for liberating the self from the constraints of body and mind, culminating in the state of complete spiritual absorption known as samadhi. By the 19th century, these ideas made their way to the West through the Theosophical movement, which synthesized the five-body theory with other esoteric traditions such as Gnosticism, Kabbalah, and Hermeticism. During the 20th century, they gained widespread popularity through the New Age movement, eventually becoming the subject of various modern workshops and courses built on the premise that hidden bodies govern the core of human experience. These philosophies have also been co-opted at times to promote pantheistic notions that deify the self, couched in alluring phrases like, "The universe is within you," or "You are the creator of your own reality," phrases that stand in stark contrast to the monotheistic understanding of divine transcendence. Naturally, we will soon pause to examine in depth the notion of reincarnation and the New Age movement, given their profound influence on the dissemination of these ideas and ideologies, and, of course, to reflect upon the Islamic perspective on them. But first, let us take a step back and delve more deeply into the etheric body and chakras and their intimate connection to the concept of energy healing. Energy healing stands as a fundamental pillar in Eastern philosophies, grounded in the belief that an invisible cosmic force flows through the human body. This vital energy is known as prana in Hindu tradition, chi in Chinese culture, and ki in Japanese teachings. It is believed that this energy can be adjusted or rebalanced to enhance physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being through various therapeutic practices. Among these is Reiki, a Japanese system wherein the healer channels energy into the patient by hovering their hands above the body. Another is pranic healing, rooted in Indian practice, which involves cleansing and revitalizing the aura through specific breathing and meditative techniques. These approaches rest on the premise that a subtle, invisible body exists, one that interacts with thoughts, emotions, and energies, and must be cleansed or realigned for one to regain health. This body, as previously discussed, is known as the etheric body, envisioned as an energetic sheath that envelopes the physical form and serves as a conduit between the soul and the body. It is said to absorb cosmic energy from the universe through the chakras and distribute it to the body's organs. The term chakra in Sanskrit means wheel or disc, and it refers to non-physical energy centers aligned along what is known as the etheric spine, not the visible, physical one. These chakras are considered gateways for universal life energy and are deemed essential to the proper flow of prana throughout the body. Any blockage or imbalance within them is believed to result in psychological or physical disturbances. According to the most widely accepted systems within yoga and Vedanta, there are 7 primary chakras aligned from the base of the pelvis to the crown of the head. First, root chakra Muladhara, red in color, associated with the element earth. Located at the base of the spine, between the anus and genitals, it governs primal instincts and survival emotions such as fear and hunger. Second, sacral chakra, Svadhisthana, orange, aligned with water. Situated just below the navel, it relates to emotions, sensuality, relationships, and sexual desire. Third, solar plexus chakra Manipura, yellow linked to fire. Found above the navel, it is associated with willpower, personal strength, and self-confidence. Fourth, heart chakra Anahata, green, sometimes depicted as pink, tied to air. Positioned at the center of the chest, it governs love, compassion, forgiveness, and deep emotional connections. Fifth, throat chakra Vishuddha, sky blue, associated with the element of ether. Located in the throat, it influences honesty, verbal creativity, expression, and communication. Sixth, third eye chakra Ajna, indigo in color, representing light. Found between the eyebrows, it governs insight, intuition, and wisdom. It is often considered the gateway to extrasensory perception, inner vision, and the subconscious mind. Seventh, crown chakra Sahasrara, violet or white, representing universal consciousness. Located at the top of the head, it symbolizes enlightenment, divine connection, and dissolution into the absolute. Its full activation is believed to mark the apex of consciousness and the attainment of ultimate liberation. It is thus understood that these chakras function as portals within the etheric body, receiving cosmic energy. They are said to be in their purest, most balanced state at birth. However, as individuals grow and become immersed in the material world and its desires, these centers may become imbalanced or blocked, thereby disrupting the flow of energy and impairing the physical body. According to tantric and yogic teachings, the chakras do not open spontaneously. Rather, they require activation through the awakening of what is known as Kundalini energy. Kundalini, a Sanskrit word meaning coiled or spiraled, represents a latent spiritual force believed to reside at the base of the spine, specifically within the root chakra. It is often symbolized as a dormant serpent lying curled at the base of the etheric spine. When awakened, this serpent-like energy begins its ascent through a central channel known as Sushumna, winding upward in 3.5 coils, passing through each of the 7 chakras and activating them one by one. As the energy rises, the individual undergoes profound spiritual, psychological, and physical transformations, culminating at the 7th chakra, the crown chakra, at the apex of the head. The opening of this final chakra is said to bring about spiritual illumination or ultimate liberation, known as samadhi, a state of ecstatic union with the divine. Now, perhaps you feel a sense of unease or even revulsion at this startling narrative, so strikingly at odds with monotheistic doctrine. That reaction is not without reason. I have intentionally presented these concepts using their original names and definitions as they appear in Eastern teachings, rather than the polished, appealing terms favored by modern self-help speakers and energy healers, which many embrace uncritically, often unaware that this booming industry now generates millions in profit. Nonetheless, let's continue piecing together this fragmented picture, arranging the scattered elements into a coherent whole. Only then can we understand how these practices in their current form subtly undermine core tenets of faith, despite the possibility that, when reframed through a different lens, they could represent genuine spiritual elevation and strengthen one's connection with God. The process of chakra opening, in order to receive cosmic energy, hinges upon the awakening of the Kundalini serpent through a series of specialized spiritual rites. Among these is Kundalini Yoga, a discipline combining breath control, physical postures, meditation, and sacred chants known as mantras, vocal sounds with specific vibrational frequencies, such as Lam, Vam, Ram, Om, and others, which are said to stir the inner serpent from its slumber. There is also the ritual of Diksha, in which energy is believed to be transferred from the spiritual teacher to the disciple through physical touch, often placed upon the forehead or along the spine. Additionally, practices such as sensory deprivation, fasting, and extreme asceticism are employed as means to stimulate the rise of Kundalini. While those who undertake the Kundalini awakening often describe it as a transcendent spiritual experience, numerous accounts speak of violent or terrifying side effects, such as involuntary body movements, tremors, vivid inner visions or voices resembling hallucinations, dissociative episodes, and erratic shifts in behavior or perception. For this reason, some schools of thought strongly caution against attempting Kundalini activation without the close guidance of a qualified spiritual mentor. The potential dangers include severe psychological disturbances, such as hysterical fits or deep depressive episodes. Some researchers and observers of this phenomenon have noted striking similarities between the awakening of Kundalini, with its accompanying strange and uncontrollable manifestations, and what is commonly referred to as spiritual possession, demonic influence, or deep hypnotic trance. This is because Kundalini is not a physical energy, but a metaphysical concept rooted in Hindu spirituality, particularly within the teachings of Shakta Tantra, which deifies the feminine principle known as Shakti. Kundalini, therefore, represents the dormant goddess Shakti within the body, and the goal of the spiritual journey to awaken her is the union of the feminine energy with the masculine consciousness at the crown of the head. This union is believed to symbolize the return to divine unity, a core notion of pantheistic belief within this doctrine. To put it simply, when God created man, he shielded him from demonic forces, granting them no authority over him, unless man himself, through ignorance or negligence, opens the door and permits their influence. This is precisely what these rituals do. They unwittingly open pathways through which dark forces may infiltrate and gain dominion. This issue will be explored in greater detail later. For now, the essential question is, how do these ideas find their way into our culture? And why have they become so intertwined with divine religious beliefs that many people now struggle to distinguish between them? In the mid-20th century, in the United States, a movement emerged known as the New Age movement. It was not merely a passing cultural trend or a superficial social phenomenon, but rather a deliberate and systematic spiritual and intellectual project that began to take shape during the 1960s and 1970s, rising from the ashes of the hippie movement and the widespread rebellion against capitalism and traditional Christian values. Over time, it evolved into a powerful ideological and spiritual current, infiltrating various spheres such as education, the arts, media, technology, and even politics. The intellectual and theological roots of the New Age movement are a blend of theosophical thought, which emerged in the 19th century and promoted the idea of religious unity and transcendence toward a higher cosmic order, along with Eastern mysticism from Buddhism, Hinduism, and Taoism, as well as ancient Gnosticism, a mystical belief system that claims secret knowledge is the key to salvation. Gnosticism denies the Creator as the ultimate source of good, replacing him with an esoteric vision of a hidden God within. The New Age movement's stated aim was to build what it called cosmic consciousness, an aspiration to establish a universal religion that transcends traditional religious and doctrinal divides and embraces pantheism, the belief that the divine is immanent in all things, that God, nature, and humanity are one. It deifies the self by teaching that man must discover the God within. It also seeks to dissolve all binaries, good and evil, darkness and light, viewing them as parts of a greater, indivisible whole. Ultimately, it rejects religion and divine law, regarding them as obstacles to humanity's spiritual evolution. Within just a few years, the movement spread like wildfire, not merely due to its alluring message, but through its strategic use of various media, novels, films, and self-help seminars that bore glossy slogans like "Discover your true self," "The power of now," and "The secrets of success." All these materials carried messages drawn from Eastern mysticism and Gnostic philosophy, ultimately converging in what became known as the law of attraction, a central tenet of the New Age movement. This principle asserts that the thoughts and emotions a person focuses on will inevitably attract corresponding experiences and events, whether positive or negative. This theory is founded on the premise that the universe acts as a mirror to one's internal energy, responding accordingly to the mental and emotional frequencies one emits. Advocates claim that reality itself can be programmed, and that wealth, love, or success may be attained through mere positive thinking and vivid imagination. Notably, this concept gained global traction through popular works such as The Secret by Australian author and television producer Rhonda Byrne. Despite its widespread appeal, it lacks scientific grounding, disregards natural laws, causality, and divine ordinances, often veering into the realm of superstition and counterfeit spiritualism. The New Age movement was not confined to personal practices or private seminars. Rather, it gradually and methodically infiltrated educational institutions. It introduced spiritual notions disguised in scientific terminology. Terms like positive energy, vibrations, cosmic awareness, and inner power, presented as psychological insights or discoveries in quantum physics. In a bid to avoid overt religiosity in secular contexts, proponents promoted what they termed non-religious spirituality, offering a nebulous portrayal of cosmic energy, higher consciousness, and unity with the universe as alternatives to conventional religious doctrines. This allowed individuals to feel a spiritual dimension in their lives without the constraints of theological or legal commitments. Practices such as yoga, Reiki, and transcendental meditation, among other esoteric rituals, were rebranded as techniques for enhancing focus and reducing stress, often deployed in therapeutic programs without reference to their pagan origins. Additionally, children and adolescents were targeted with self-development programs incorporating ideas like the law of attraction, future goal visualization, and the invocation of cosmic intentions, leading them to believe that their thoughts shape their reality and that the universe responds to their frequencies. These notions distort divine laws and undermine the responsibility of action and trust in God. Thus, the New Age movement succeeded in packaging its philosophy within appealing scientific and educational frameworks, particularly in the context of moral and spiritual collapse in many Western educational environments, exploiting the psychological thirst of younger generations for meaning, a void created by the fragmented, reformed Christianity of the West, which became so disjointed it allowed pagan ideas to penetrate with ease. In contrast, The Islamic East, with its solid creed and cohesive epistemological system, served as a formidable barrier against these imported spiritual currents. It was virtually impossible for such ideologies to take root until methodical efforts were made to dismantle this fortress. By spreading doubts, denying the prophetic tradition, distorting Islamic history, and igniting theological and ideological discord. These breaches enabled New Age ideas to seep in, not in their original, unadulterated form, but cloaked in a deceptive Islamic veneer, promoted as solutions to perceived spiritual or intellectual deficiencies, while in reality, they represent a grave deviation from the essence of monotheism. In the next section, God willing, we will explore how the use of soft language and seemingly appealing terminology, which avoids direct confrontation with religious doctrine, facilitated the transmission of these concepts into Muslim societies. We will also examine the pivotal role played by modern media, both traditional and digital, in entrenching the vocabulary of the New Age movement and disseminating it widely, carried by figures who bore deception as though it were a torch of enlightenment, merciful in appearance, yet tormenting at its core.